now on the fallout on James Comey's tell-all. Insight on the former FBI director from a man who worked alongside him. Bret Williams from the BRW Law Group here in Atlanta, former federal prosecutor in the Justice Department in the Southern District of New York and also here in Atlanta. Bret, thanks for taking time for us. We appreciate it. So tell us what you know about the man, James Comey. You worked with him for roughly about 2 years.
I did. And I will tell you that Mr. Comey was very much, and I describe him this way, an adult Boy Scout. He was very honorable, and I'm somewhat surprised by some of the excerpts I've read from the book because they seem a bit casual and salacious in their tone and not consistent with the Jim Comey that I had experienced.
Are you surprised that he is more or less really revealing all? I mean, there's no pulling back from this point. There's no unringing the bell. And it does make us wonder where his political career could go from here. Are you surprised by everything that he's saying?
I'm a bit surprised by the nature and tone of the book, at least of the excerpts I've seen so far online, because they don't seem to be consistent with my experience with him and my experience with a person who is and has been a U.S. attorney and the head of the FBI.
Yeah, and the president certainly took to Twitter today to respond to Comey's tell-all. He tweeted today, James Comey is a proven leaker and a liar. We have that graphic for you there. A proven leaker and a liar. Virtually everyone in Washington thought he should be fired for the terrible job he did until he was, in fact, fired. Were you surprised by his termination there on the job?
I was not surprised that the president decided to go in a different direction when he achieved office, and the fact that he ultimately fired the FBI director, I didn't take as a great surprise, or I didn't view it as something that was personal to Jim Comey, but more in line with
circumstances.
Correct.
So let's talk a little bit more about those circumstances, because in the last few minutes we actually learned that the president's personal attorney, Michael Cohen, now under criminal investigation, and also there's that ongoing investigation by special counsel Robert Mueller. And there have been rumors that friends of the president are urging him to fire Mueller, and also the assistant attorney general, Rob Rosenstein. I mean, what will come of that? What are the possibilities for, say, impeachment, the president staying in office, or any possible criminal charges on down the line for the president?
Well, one thing that anybody needs to understand is that it's not the case that Mueller, Rosenstein, Comey, or anyone else will impeach the president. That's the job for Congress. The House of Representatives will bring impeachment charges if that is the case, and then a trial will be held by the Senate. That will proceed apace if it's warranted, whether or not Mueller, Rosenstein, or Jim Comey, or whoever is in the driver's seat in terms of being special counsel and investigating the case.
So that really won't matter. It depends on who's kind of more or less certainly Congress, as opposed to who is in charge there.
That's correct.
So what about anything that happened before Donald Trump's presidency? Is there any possible litigation, criminal charges that could stem from that?
There are. We know from the experience with Bill Clinton and Paula Jones, and that was a case that if there is conduct that occurred prior to an individual becoming president, that conduct, if it doesn't interfere with their office and their duties as president, that litigation can go forward. Ms. Jones had a civil case against President Clinton that was allowed to go forward by the courts because it was conduct that occurred before Mr. Clinton was president, and conduct that was not perceived to be of such a nature that it would interfere with his job as president running the country. Yeah,
certainly new developments every single day. Bret Williams, we thank you from the BRW Law Group here in Atlanta. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.